How you doing, guys? This is Richie. So I pulled out Hillbilly. This series came out in 2016. It's been a while. Eric Powell, again. Big fan of Eric Powell's work. These are the second prints for number 1 and number 2. This is a 12-issue series. Also, after the 12-issue series, there was a 4-issue mini-series. And since then, we haven't heard anything about Hillbilly. Great book, great story, and let's take a look. So, this is like in the Appalachian Mountains. It starts off. A guy named, it starts off a kid, Rondell. He's born blind, right? And so this little kid is in the backwoods, and he stumbles across a witch. And the witch grabs a hold of him. This is Rondell. Now, Rondell was born blind, and he carries the devil's cleaver. And we'll get to that in a minute about how he came upon that. But look at this art. Same thing as the Goon. It's beautiful, fantastic artwork. It's just so nice. It really is. So he rescues this kid, right? And if you notice here, he's got a bandage around his eyes. So he was born blind. He rescues the kid from the witch. And as he's walking the kid back home, he starts telling him the story of how he came to be. And this was Rondell when he was young. He was born this way without eyes, so it's his skin, like he didn't even have eyeballs. So him, Rondell, the young Rondell, and his friend, this girl, went out into the woods and trying to hunt a pig. So yeah, you got this giant crossbow and this giant pig or boar. And the boar, they miss the boar, and the boar comes attacking them. Rondell falls off a cliff. That's a great panel. Falls into a river. And then he stumbles out of it. Luckily, he's not hurt. And he comes across this crow that's tied up to a bone. And the crow's begging him to release him. So he releases the crow, and it turns out to be a witch who was trapped by another witch. So I guess they're not too friendly towards each other. So Rondell, she decides, I'm going to help this kid. She grabs Rondell, takes him back to her place. That's where he finds the devil's cleaver. So Lucifer, she had found Lucifer walking around one day and followed him back to his hell place. And she was roaming around the halls and found a couple of his goodies. But the thing is, witches can't touch the devil's cleaver, or here's another one, this spoon, the devil's ladle. A wizard just can't touch it, or else they'll die. That's just the way the devil made it, because they're so treacherous. So as she decides to cut him loose in the woods, and for one last gift, never you mind, boy, now before I leave you, I have one more gift to impart, your sight. She cuts slits by his eyes and gives him sight. But he could see things that normal people can't see, supernatural stuff. So the thing is, she wants him to go kill the witch that entrapped her. So she brings him back to his old town, and the other witch destroyed the town. So she kind of planned this all out on him to get him to seek vengeance. But unlucky for her, he decides to kill her because you can't trust a witch. And he cleaves her down with the cleaver. So that's a young Rondell. Now this is an older Rondell. Now he's been wandering around for quite a few years. So they tell stories, and he gives all the backstory right there in issue 1. So what he also has, Rondell, is a friend, a bear friend, who speaks. So the bear has been lurking around, and the bear didn't want to startle the kid. So she stayed behind, but they're friends. That's issue number 1. Issue number 2. Now, these, like I said, these are second prints. I buy first prints, second prints. I bought them all, but I can't find issue number 3. Otherwise, I would have did 1, 2, 3, and 4. But I don't know. I got to really dig deeper in the box. It's a pain in the ass. I haven't looked at these in a while. So they're somewhere in the boxes. It'll probably be just easier to go buy a couple new issues. Anyway, this is book 2. And here we go. Now they're showing Rondell, mid-age, probably looks like in his 20s. Now he's talking about how he's starting to see death. Not like dead people. Well, he sees real dead people, but death itself, which is a pale man on a pale horse. So death is following him around. And he's wondering, is it going to be me? Am I going to be dead? Like usually when you see death, your own death is intimate. But because of his eyesight, the way his eyesight was granted, he can see stuff like this. So he first saw death when he was in his 20s. Now they go back to him, current day. So he wandering around just trying to sell his wares at a village. In comes this guy who says his girl has been hexed by a witch. So they're like, ooh. He listens to the story, and sure enough, when the healer tries to heal her, the witch spirit pops out. And telling them, the only way you can revive this girl is to go to there's a tree right here, a tree that had the blood of sinners fed to its roots since a long time ago. It granted tainted and evil and living off that suffering. So he has to find this tree that's been sinners have been hung from for hundreds of years and get its root. So as you could probably imagine, that's not going to be an easy task. So once again, he sees death in the shack where the young girl is hexed. So he says, don't worry, I'll fetch the root. Or at least I'll do my best. Now, they don't know who Rondell is. They don't know what he's capable of. So, sure enough, he goes looking for this tree. And death is following him. So he just says, hey, you want to walk with me? Or you're just going to follow behind me? So he said, I'll ride alongside you if you want the company. Most won't abide me. Then he asks him, why can I see you and others cannot? And he doesn't know. So they're walking and talking, small talk, and then I think they creep each other out, so they just stop talking. And sure enough, he comes upon the tree. Weren't long before we reached the destination. The tree would suffer no soul. The bones littered about the blackened thing was sign enough. And death says, best of luck to you. And as soon as he gets toward the tree, he gets engulfed in branches. Kind of like Evil Dead. I don't know if you guys seen that, when the branches grab the girl. That's a really nice panel, though. Very, very, very nice. Like this watercolory kind of look. It just looks great. It really does look great. So, who be witless enough to get within the circle of my vine? So they start talking. And I think the tree realizes, like, he's all right. And they talk, and the tree has a soul and wants to be done with this. Who, wants to be a tree for eternity. So he tells her, I'll free you of your pain. The tree knew that he had the devil's cleaver. And the tree had heard tales of him. Then I come not lightly. This woman will die if you don't give up the root. You speak like your ear was at my heart, wanderer. Mayhap you are right. I have lived longer than any tree within the call of my song. If the power be yours to set me free, do so and take my root. Swing true, witless. I will work as fast as I am able, old mother. And he mows down the tree, pulls out the root, and there's the spirit of the tree. And there's death again. So that's why death was following him around. He knew there was a soul to come home. So he heads on back to the village, and he turns around, and there's death again, lurking around behind him. Well, look at this. Somebody's sneaking up. Fool. And he jumps out, and he attacks. I like how it goes from like black and gray to some panels are color with the red. Like when there's action, it's like red. Boom. Hits him with the cleaver. And it turns out the guy who's trying to attack him is the boyfriend of the girl that's been hexed. And he's like, what the? Turns out the boyfriend is bewitched by another witch. And the witch has convinced him that they would be married, so he's under her spell. The dowry goes to the oldest. You won't ruin our future together. So he kills the boy. And death takes him. Do not worry. You have long miles to go before you see me again. Long, long, weary miles. Goodbye, child of iron. So he's got a lot of years ahead of him. He heads back to the shack where the hexed girl, young girl, is. He throws down the roots, and he's made it into a crown. So he throws it on the table, and he hits the cleaver in the middle of it, and he tells this other girl, Ruth, you're the blood. Pull the cleaver from the table and place the crown on your sister's head. How will we ever repay you? Then when she goes to grab the cleaver, she burns, so he knows she's the witch. Can't no witch lay hand on the devil's cleaver. The last words of your lover said before he died was that the oldest got the dowry. You was the one who took your sister's comb to Eliza, who was the witch that hexed her. You wanted the man, the land, and everything, didn't you? Just had to get your sister out of the way. So she shows her true colors. You ruined everything. I will tell my mistress, Eliza will make you suffer. And have no fear, Ruthie. I'll be calling on Eliza directly, not my baby girl. So he tells her, put the crown on the girl's head. But he wants to be out of there before she sees how sad and heartbroken she's going to be when she wakes up. And then for the final, I went back up in them hills wondering why so much betrayal and suffering. The answer is simple. because folks is ignorant, and that's all there is to it. So here's the next issue, The Flesh-Eating Witch Child of Hoodoo Ridge. So yeah, 2 really good issues. Eric Powell doesn't disappoint ever. And that's that. You know, if I can't find issue number, I'm going to dig through my boxes tomorrow. If I can't find it, I'm just going to order them. I'm going to go through all 12. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.